Digimon Seekers. Epilogue. Cheers, AG said, raising his beer-filled glass to another with a satisfying clink. The yakitori restaurant buzzed around him, conversations flying every which way as people dug into their fixed-price food and drink courses. Its clientele consisted mainly of college students and young professionals. Workers hammering out overtime on their laptops were sprinkled among young couples grabbing a bite. "Happy birthday, AG," Leon said in return. "Happy birthday to me. Farewell, teens. Hello, 20s. What a wild ride," AG said, his mouth ringed with foam. He was finally able to drink in Japan, and he was taking full advantage of it. His exploits at the Sose's Gateway Festival were the hot topic all across the deep web. He was among the first humans to travel to the depths of the digital world and live to tell about it. More than that, his venture into the unknown was a success. Everyone involved, Yulin, Kosuke, Leon, and the others, agreed never to divulge full details to the public, and had thus far kept their word. Then again, the fact that an upstart codecracker by the name of Eiji Nagasumi rescued Leon Alexander's consciousness and brought him back from being digitally missing in action was hard to keep under wraps. "I'm so glad we finally get to share a drink, Leon. All this time I've been thinking about how badly I wanted to make this moment a reality, and now it's actually happening. And you made it happen because you came looking for me. So thank you once again." What's all this, once again, business? All this painful earnestness is gonna make me cringe. Hey, you've got to tell people how you feel while you have the chance. AG couldn't help but pick up bits and pieces of other conversations in the place. Europe just keeps moving the goalposts, whether it's in sports or electric cars. An exasperated middle manager forcefully expounding upon the state of the world markets. Can't we just split the bill? It's not unheard of. A woman hashing out the bill with the man attempting to pick her up. A peal of uproarious laughter studded with expletives from a nearby group of college students. Mirth incarnate. This always happens when we come to places like this. You should know better by now. A girlfriend incensed by the arrival of a water she clearly did not order, overwhelming her partner with showy displeasure. A nearby waiter eyed them warily, secretly wishing they'd leave. And there in the middle of this greasy tableau sat AG and Leon, a code cracker and a hacker simply having a chat. Don't say anything nice, Leon. When you grow up, you never know when you're going to die. Next to AG, the waiter placed a skewer on the table, looking agitated. Actually almost died. That's what I call it. Even among my fellow crackers, there are some who lose touch with each other at some point. Everyone has various circumstances, various things. There is no shortage of people who become DMIA. They are still treated as unidentified people for unidentified reasons, but how long will they be able to keep the reality of digital world and Digimon a secret? That's right. Before I forget this, it's my birthday present. Leon brought out his Digimon linker arm. Oh? What? AG is also Digimon linker and receives the data sent by Leon. I have compiled information that can be shared regarding the incident in Country X last month. Oh, seriously? That's helpful. You really don't have any regrets, that bald guy. After checking the data, AG ordered a refill on the store's tablet computer. Once you get a taste of Digimon crimes, that terrorist nation has no other core industry. As expected, these days he doesn't call out the SOC and make false accusations anymore. That bald dictator needs some more moxibustion. The next time something happens in Country X as a hacker, I will tolerate it. Oh yeah? Look at you getting all conspiratorial. What a productive meeting of the hacker and codecracker minds. AG and Leon lifted their heads to see a woman with green streaks peeking out of the inner layers of her hair. "Satsuki, you found us!" AG leapt up to greet Satsuki Tamahimi, deputy squad leader of the Digi Police. "I didn't find squat. You invited me," Satsuki snarled. "Haven't been here in a minute," the tall woman behind Satsuki said, her eyes scanning the restaurant's interior. The voice belonged to none other than Shu Yulin, the head of the Digi Police. The four split a large bottle of beer, and the conversation gradually loosened. "So, what was that little bit of data you two shared with each other just as we walked in?" "Come on, show me, you little punk," Satsuki barked. "Ooh, are we gonna have to cut you off after one bottle? You're getting pretty heated," AG said as he yanked his Digimon linker arm away from Satsuki's prying hands. "Leave him alone, Satsuki. We're off duty, remember?" "There's no such thing as a day off for the Digi Police," Satsuki shouted, in full defiance of her superior. Such was their working relationship. "I think you need to make some friends other than that slug of yours. Don't think you can say whatever you want just 'cause you're cute, Leon Alexander," Satsuki snapped, jabbing her finger in Leon's face. Go on, have another glass, Eiji said, angling for more drama. Oop, okay, Satsuki said. This is cause for celebration. We finally get to have a nice little chat, and in the real world no less. Eiji beamed. It felt good to shed their labels and talk to one another like real human beings. It turned out that Satsuki's resignation letter over her unauthorized deployment of Brigade Ramon was rejected. Yulin was still the head of the Digipolice, and there were no major shakeups in the wake of the Gateway breach. Of course, there were plenty more internal matters the squad leader and her deputy weren't at liberty to talk about. You really like that stuff, huh? Yulin asked, gesturing at the pile of chicken skin skewers in front of Eiji. I love it. Hey, I know it's the first time we're meeting face to face and all, but, Yulin began. Well, there was that one time we passed by each other back at DDL, Eiji said as he poured Yulin another glass. Whatever the case, I feel like I've been had. You're no different from any other college kid, Yulin said with a derisive sniff. Don't let him fool you, squad leader. He may have those puppy dog eyes, but he's still the leader of the SOC. Indoor voice, Satsuki, Yulin chided. Did you just call Eiji cute? Leon asked with surprise, sensing she'd revealed more than she intended. You've got it all wrong, Satsuki. Tartarus is still the leader of the SOC. Or is he? He hasn't made any moves or shown his face since. And I need to use the bathroom, Satsuki announced loudly, and stood up from the table. Tartarus was just a title given to Kosuke and his partner Digimon, apparently. Always had been, Eiji said, lowering his voice to avoid drawing attention. It was reserved for whoever happened to be in charge at the time, and ensured that Tartarus would be a constant, stable, at the head of the SOC. What happened to Kosuke after all that anyway? Leon asked. I don't even know, Eiji said through a mouthful of skewer. He hadn't seen Kosuke since Operation Tartarus. Really? Color me surprised. Well, I only met him in the real world once, though now I'm living in his former safe house. Wait, isn't your address still that 3-mat apartment? Officially, yeah. That's where the family altar is, and Lugaman really likes the place. The Digipolice were aware, Yulin cut in, that you and Leon were working more closely now, but I get the sense we've overestimated just how closely. The left hand doesn't seem to know what the right hand is doing. I suppose not, Eiji said. It's been a couple months since we last met up, at any rate, Leon added. There was no point in trying to hide that from the Digipolice. Leon and Eiji were constant topics of conversation on Graham, but they themselves didn't correspond every single day. We've each got our own things going, and Leon's still a student anyhow, Eiji said, giving Yulin further food for thought. Is it fair to say you're taking care to protect me too? It wouldn't be great optics for the person on whom all the real world's digital world research hopes and seed money have been pinned to be seen openly hanging out with a code cracker from the SOC. Yeah, exactly, Eiji replied with a nod. A year later, they were all still trying to reconfigure their lives around what happened in the digital world source domain. Leon was the first DMIA patient in living memory to recover, though he'd also spent relatively little time in a coma, which minimized the harm to his body. Upon completing rehabilitation, he resumed his studies at Tokyo Electrical, where he became a preeminent researcher of DMIA treatment and recovery. He also continued his extracurricular activities as the hacker judge. Eiji Nagasumi kept on with his code-cracking work, albeit from a brand new perspective. He was now a folk hero on the net for his actions during the Gateway crack and subsequent foray into the depths of the digital world. And for once, he was on the winning team. For all intents and purposes, the other code crackers on Grim M saw him as the de facto leader of the SOC, and neither Marvin the Songsmith nor any of the other SOC leaders challenged that assertion. He didn't feel any different, though, and he certainly didn't feel like a leader. So much can change in a year, Yulin said wistfully. Ultimate Warblade Takemikazuchi. In an instant, Dex Doru Goramon disintegrated into the source domain's ether. Kazuchimon, now a sword in Fenrilugamon's mouth, sliced through the armor protecting the zombified Digicore predator, sealing its fate. All of Professor Ryusenji's work, researching the source Digimon, applying that data to stave off Dorogoramon's death by turning it into an undead nightmare, vanished. Bits of Dex Dorogoramon's wings floated gently to the ground and vanished like so much pixelated mist. The data downloaded from the source domain returned to the vast networked sea from whence it came, spared its shambling fate. Leon and Eiji prevailed. They'd activated a fusion digivolution deep down inside the digicores of Fenrilugamon and Kazuchimon, with their shared desire to put a stop to any monster that would toy with the lives of others, and now they stood victorious. Only Doraemon remained in the wake of the attack. Fenrilugamon scooped up the data-type prototype Digimon for safekeeping. The attack from Takemikazuchi had at last freed the small Digimon from Professor Ryusenji's restraints. Eiji, meanwhile, was in a daze. He'd been so eager to strike that he hadn't given himself time to process what was happening, though he ostensibly witnessed it blow by blow. Dex Doragoramon is no more. Sorry? Eiji said in bewildered response to Leon's statement. He looked down at the talking sword that was Kazuchimon in surprise. Doraemon secured. No sign of further transmissions from Professor Ryusenji. They'd sent the professor packing. They'd protected everyone from his attack, and far more people beyond that. It was hard to put into words the magnitude of what they'd saved, but life in the digital world was at the top of the list. Operation Tartarus, Phase 4, complete. Kosuke, is that you? Eiji said, spinning around to locate the voice. He spotted Kosuke's hololized form standing beside Yulin, Ryudamon, and Eiji's 3 Tyrannomon at the altar. We didn't complete the mission to the letter, but I'm counting this as a win, Kosuke said, revealing the black Agumon next to him. Kosuke, the black Agumon said in a small voice, gripping his hand tightly with all its might. Thank you, Eiji, from the bottom of my heart, Kosuke said. Eiji was at a loss for words, but Fenrilugamon's hastily downgrade back to Lugamon alerted him to a much more important matter. Yeesh, I'm about to hit my limit here. Sorry to cut and run, but I've got to go like 5 minutes ago. Great job, everybody. I imagine you two feel it even more strongly at your age. Once you notice a change, it can feel like you've turned into a completely different creature in the span of a single day, Yulin said, continuing her contemplative tone. Once you notice it, eh? Eiji asked rhetorically. And that change is precious, like a Digimon digivolving to a new form for the first time, Yulin mused. Despite the gravity of her little monologue, she was in a very good mood. Eiji had been in regular conversation with her via GryMM backchannels ever since the Gateway incident, where she assured him there would be no public investigation. Speaking of precious things, I just wanted to thank you for not branding me a criminal here in the real world, by the way. The Digipolice absolutely had the power to ruin his life, legally speaking. So far, they hadn't. He figured he'd earned Yulin's trust through his dealings with Kosuke, but he knew he was still a code cracker in their eyes. Their relationship could change at any moment. On that note, I wanted to ask you about Kosuke, Yulin said bluntly. Where is he now? What is he doing? Hearing about the untraceable Tartarus is the whole reason I even showed up for this. She wasn't leaving without an update. Funny you should mention him. I actually invited him to this little get-together, Eiji replied. You what? Yulin flinched. Her head whipped back and forth, scanning the room. Yeah, but he said he literally couldn't make it in time. He must be out of the country or something. I invited him to the after-party, though. He'll probably show up to that. What after-party? Yulin asked. You mean? Leon asked, glancing conspicuously at his Digimon linker. Pulseman's image was nowhere to be seen on its display. Yep, you got it. Lugamon wasn't visible on Eiji's Digimon linker either. Their partner Digimon were out and about. There you are. So sorry I'm late, came a voice from across the room. Hey Hatsu, you made it! Over here! Eiji said, getting to his feet to wave her in. Did work keep you late? Leon asked genially. Oh hey Leon, it's been ages. My fan club's been withering ever since you stopped coming by DDL, I'll have you know, Hatsune said with faux grumpiness as she plunked herself down at the table. They sure are keeping you busy, huh? Eiji inquired. Like you wouldn't believe. It's been non-stop since last year. People are getting shuffled around all the time, which means I have to wear so many hats now. The professor relocated his main research facility to America, didn't he? Yulin cut in. Oh goodness, the head of the Digipolice is here, Hatsune yelped, taking notice of Yulin. You didn't tell me she'd be coming, Yulin quietly griped to Eiji. I didn't know if she'd show myself, Eiji said in surprise. For that matter, he hadn't even told Hatsune who would be at the party. She's the DDL receptionist, right? Yulin said just loud enough to catch Hatsune's attention. Hi, my name is Hatsune Moka. Thanks so much for everything you do. We don't need to bother so much with the formalities today, Leon offered. Oh, good. That means a lot coming from you, Leon. Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm the one who put this together. Of course it's casual, Eiji chirped. Ugh, the wait for the toilet was horrendous. Hey, who's the new cutie? Satsuki said, looking at Hatsune. In the year following the showdown in the source domain, Professor Ryusenji maintained control of Aberdeen Electronics and his prominent position in the field of digital world research. There weren't any laws against which he could be tried, and so he remained a free man. He did, however, announce almost immediately after the incident that his research center would be moving out of DDL and relocating to America. Whether this was a change of heart or simply discomfort at having been bested, it was impossible to say. He was never outwardly nasty to AG and Leon afterward. Leon retained his hacker contract with DDL, and AG continued to receive his fees, complete with bonus. For obvious reasons, Leon elected to move out of the apartment the professor provided. Shu Yulin and the Digipolice, as well as Kosuke Kisakata's quiet presence, undeniably loomed over the professor. They hadn't voiced it, but everyone at the party quietly figured that contributed to his exodus. AG imagined Professor Ryusenji, spitting mad, sat at his desk in the DDL laboratory after Dex Dorugoramon's destruction, his video feed to the source domain severed. How could they have defeated my Dex Dorugoramon? AG pictured him yelling to no one in particular. He probably would have followed it up with something lofty like, "I appreciate the advantage your youth gives you, but do not think you have defeated me. Now that we're all here, let's do a proper toast. Does everyone have their drinks?" AG asked, looking out over the table. "Cheers!" everyone shouted in unison. "So anyway," Hatsune continued, "Professor Ryusenji said he wants to come." AG, Leon, and Yulin simultaneously spat out their drinks. "Ha-Hatsu!" AG choked out through a coughing fit. "Are you serious?" Leon managed. "Yeah, but I'm in charge of his scheduling for Japan, and he had another meeting he couldn't get out of, so I went ahead and canceled his appearance here." "A meeting?" "Mm-hmm. With the U.S. Secretary of Defense. He was all set to take a private jet out here and everything. It's a real shame," she lamented. AG and Leon locked eyes. "Oh man, that was close," AG said with a heavy sigh. "Thank you, Pentagon. Mission accomplished." Leon matched his sigh of relief. Yulin, too, looked more at ease. Meanwhile, in the wall slum on the outskirts of the digital world, a gentle breeze rolled in off a destructive offshore vortex. A year later, the Digimon in the wall slum still spoke of the humans who managed to crack the gateway. It had since been closed again, but there was palpable excitement in the once gloomy wall slum air. Someone had punctured a hole in the barrier that kept them in exile. It was possible. The biggest change, however, came to the Castle of Nine Wolves. "Leon and company are going to be late," Pulseman said, sitting on a rooftop, looking out over the castle square. "Leaving us hanging, as usual. That's AG for you," Lugaman said as they bit into a hunk of meat. The demon wolf of the Castle of Nine Wolves was back on their home turf. The ground floor of the illegal building that once blighted the district was now their base of operations. An SOC mark adorned its facade. The 9th District Digimon cavorted in the castle square, enjoying the celebratory feast. "Something wrong, Rudimon?" Lugamon asked, turning to the helmeted prototype Digimon. They sat quietly, not so much as touching the food right in front of them. "I am only in attendance by virtue of my partner having been invited. Forgive me, but I cannot help but feel I do not belong here," they replied. Worry spread across their face as they tried to reconcile their role as a member of the Digipolice with their attendance at a feast held in the heart of Codecracker territory. "Well, your Digipolice partner is out having drinks with AG and the others as we speak, so I think you have permission to enjoy yourself, if it helps." "And my hacker partner is with him too," Pulseman said, urging Ryudamon not to think too deeply about it. "Indeed, perhaps it is fine." "Of course it's fine. Go on, have a drink," Pulseman said, taking up a bottle. Rudiman picked up their glass, watched as Pulseman poured a liquid of indeterminate color into it, and downed it in one swift gulp. That is fierce," Rudiman said, blinking furiously. They glanced at the label on the bottle. Demon Wolf Pure Brew. A 9th District specialty, proudly and illegally brewed right here, Lugaman said, puffing out their chest. "Illegally," Rudiman said with a start. "Not that there are any laws here in the digital world, it's just data about real-world liquor that I took from AG's Digimon linker and approximated here. Should bring in enough to fund our operations anyhow." Lugamon had a mind for business, as it turned out. AG's 3 Tyrannomon, meanwhile, were the entertainment for the evening. They danced about the square, wowing the other Digimon in attendance with periodic bursts of fire. "It's been quite the journey, but it sure seems like it all worked out," Pulseman said with a smile. "I guess it did work out, yeah. It sure wasn't boring," Lugaman said flippantly. Eiji's flair for the casual had rubbed off on them. So like, do you remember everything now? Pulseman eagerly asked, spurred on by their drink. Eh? You know, your memories of the past and all that. Pulseman tried again, trying to reframe the question around Lugamon's corrupted memory. Lugamon sat for a moment, considering their answer. You seemed to remember a bit more each time you digivolved, and then we overheard Leon and Eiji's nice long talk. You said you were captured by DDL, right? Maybe, Lugamon said with a sigh. Maybe? Does it matter? It's all in the past now. Besides, I wouldn't want to talk about it even if I did remember. Eiji, well, he needs me. He's got his own future ahead of him, and I want him to do something great with it. Huh. Wow. Lugamon's answer had taken a heavy turn, but Pulseman's attention was already elsewhere. They took another drink. Hope Leon and Eiji pace themselves tonight. We won't be able to mind link if they don't. Digimon had the built-in benefit of being able to break down and process alcohol data in the span of a clock cycle, while the humans were left to rely on their imperfect biological solutions. If it comes to that, we can just release the locks on their linkers. Speaking of, did you invite, him? Pulseman asked conspiratorially. Eiji said he sent him a message. Woo, he's been mind-linked ever since, right? He spends more time in here than out there from what I've heard. Yeah, I bet the old man's more Digimon than human by now. Hehehe. Want to bet on whether or not he shows? Pulseman prodded. What? Lugamon said wearily. Come on, a month's worth of food, says he. Pulseman stopped mid-sentence as they took notice of the shadow that fell over the castle square. Everyone turned their eyes to the networked seas above. A winged dragon's silhouette passed through the air above them, the wall slum's lights reflecting on its silver body. Doragoromon! They've come! A somewhat unsteady Ryodomon yelped, raising their claws to the sky in delight. So, you made it after all, Lugamon said as Doragoromon slid in for a soft landing. Hello to you too, Lugamon. Where's Eiji? Kosuke asked, his hololized form strolling amiably through the castle square. Not here yet, but he's on his way. You want to go greet him? Lugamon said as they leapt down from the roof. Kosuke took a look at the Soci marking on the building before him. The black Agamon stood by his side, clutching his hand. Kosuke took up a glass and raised it to the sky. To Eiji, the new leader of the SOC, and his partner Lugamon, the demon wolf of the 9th District. End of Digimon Seekers.